Fully Loaded Chew is tobacco-free, long cut in pouches that gives you the same pack, dip, spit, and buzz that you're used to without tobacco. Fully Loaded Chew comes in 9 flavors and is made with all food-grade ingredients and tobacco-free nicotine, the purest form of nicotine there is. To give us a try, head on over to fullyloadedchew.com for a $1 can of chew with free shipping when you enter the code OUTDOOR1. OUTDOOR and the number 1. Lastly, many outdoorsmen are trying to quit tobacco altogether, and Fully Loaded Chew may be that first step. For more information on our product line, visit fullyloadedchew.com.
Hey everybody, welcome to today's show. We've got a good one for you today. We're going to cover our 2021 elk trip, kind of just our excitement basically more than anything, just going to do some pre-gaming. And then we have Andy's dad, Roger, on, who is the kind of the whole reason this whole thing has started 20 plus years ago. He's going to kind of talk about some of his experiences and kind of the history of our trip. But before we get into it, let me drop our sponsor for today's show real quick. We got Cuddyback Digital, Cuddyback Trail Cameras, the makers of the CuddyLink system. Check them out at cuddybackdigital.com. Use the promo code MOWW21 for 10% off your order if you are so inclined. Otherwise, I'm going to let the show start and hope you all enjoy it. Welcome to the Missouri Woods and Water Podcast with your hosts, Nate and Micah.
I guess Andy's not on today.
Well, we're just used to you not being here.
Yeah, apparently
Well,
I just get written off now.
I looked at you and said my name.
Jeez.
Anyway, sorry about that. Today's show, we actually have 2 guests sitting with us today. We got Roger.
Glad to be here.
Roger is Andy's dad. And then we got our buddy Russell's here with us as well.
Hello. Returning guest.
Yeah. He's been on several shows.
Yeah, handful.
So,
The gear guy.
Huh?
The gear guy.
The gear guy. The guy that gets me in trouble. The show we're going to have today is kind of just pre-gaming our elk trip. All of us are typically on the show, or on the trip. A little bit different this year, but as we're getting text messages, a little bit different this year. Just because things are changing. Russell isn't actually going with us.
Going to New Mexico.
Yeah, lucky.
He is lucky. Yeah, we all put in for it, but...
Yeah, we all put in well, there's, 8 of us that hunt, right?
Yes.
7. 8. It depends on the year.
Yeah.
There's 7 this year. We all put in groups of 2s or 3s. And we all put in for New Mexico, all put in for Arizona.
Yep.
And Russell and Brandon.
Roger's shaking his head. No, you did put in for New Mexico, did you not?
Did not.
You sure?
You told me that we wouldn't get drawn for 5 years, and I said I'd be too old to do it.
That was for Arizona.
I think that was Arizona. New Mexico is the straight lottery.
Arizona's the one that has,
It's just draw.
New Mexico is straight lottery. Arizona's the one you did not put in for because it actually built
Did
points.
I put in for New Mexico? Did you put me
Yeah.
in? Did you put me in for New
Yes.
Mexico?
Yes. So anyway, Russell drew New Mexico. Him and his cousin Brandon,
Right.
both got New Mexico, and they're going to leave the same day as we are, and they're going to travel with us to a certain point. But we're going to kind of just pregame our trip this year, like we did last year. Talk about what we're hoping to do and get done. We're actually all going to get to go together, even though Russell and Brandon are dropping down to New Mexico. But at least COVID's not, knock on wood, going to ruin it this year. I just said knock on wood, so hopefully none of us get it. We're all going to have some fun, hopefully, and no truck troubles would be great.
Yeah, that was great last year.
Twice.
Made it out there, and truck starts kicking out DEF codes for the emission system. So we spent half of our trip trying to get the truck fixed so we can go back.
Yeah.
We didn't even get there.
We were
Before
pulling up into the mountain and the truck kicked codes.
Yeah. Yeah, our last day, we were going to try another spot, and then your truck went back into limp mode, and we had to end up. Yeah, it was a rough second outing. But so anyway, this year we didn't draw any of the units we had put into. We really just started putting in for preference
Start
points.
building points.
Yeah. So we're going back OTC, and as we're building points, we're going to keep putting in for different states and things like that. But honestly, like we've talked about in our shows before, we kind of did this the wrong way. If we were going to do it that way, we should have already been buying points.
We could have had
Yeah.
lots of points.
But we didn't. So this is the situation we're in. We're going
Why
to our
didn't
OTC.
Why didn't you tell us to start doing that, Roger? You're the senior here.
When I started, there was no such thing to worry about doing that.
You just went on,
Printer, every one was over the counter.
Really?
And you were going second rifle a lot of times, second, third rifle.
Well, we would apply for first rifle. If you didn't get that, you could always go out second rifle over counter.
Okay.
And actually been out third rifle over counter.
Nice.
That's when it's cold out there.
And
snowy.
Little snowy.
Yeah, we'll get into that in a little bit too. I'm going to hear some of these horse stories. But so what are we hoping to do this year, fellers? You know, obviously we hope to
Find
get out
elk,
there.
shoot elk, or see elk, shoot
There's
elk.
Russell's response.
Yeah.
Find elk, see elk, or see elk, shoot elk. That's isn't it just two?
I think it's 3. See elk,
See elk, shoot elk, find elk.
eat elk.
No. You got to find them first.
In Russell's case, he needs to find it.
Yeah, finding it's
Sorry.
key.
How much homework have you done on your unit so far?
Oh, lots of hours.
Lots of hours. You
Lots
think?
of waypoints.
What's your key focus when you're going out there? I mean, what are you looking for?
This year's water, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know that in that particular area, but it's going to be. I'm basing everything off water
Yeah.
at this point.
Sounds like a good strategy.
A lot of Google Maps, Onyx Maps, finding water, sorting out springs, what
Like what is actual active water?
is, yeah.
And
Or
what's
the
not.
dry creek or something.
Seasonal to
Yeah, some maps show water, and I think there may be spring maps. Some show water later in the year, possibly. So it's
Yeah.
just
And this is a first for you, really, too, because this is the first time that, like, you'll be hunting a unit where only 130 other people or whatever. I don't know what the
it's
number
like
is.
115
Drew,
in that unit.
you know, so there's only at max 115
I
people.
think there's only 15 non-residents in that unit, so the other 100 are
Nice.
residents.
Residents. So maybe you need to
And-
find one of those guys. Be like, hey, where do I need to go?
Right?
And we won't talk about which unit, but it's a large unit.
Well, I mean,
So-
honestly, it really probably doesn't matter because, like you said,
You got to draw it.
You got to
Is
draw
that-
it. So,
Can't
Yeah.
get, yeah.
but we'll keep it.
So
on the
hopefully,
DL.
you know, that is going to be a new experience for you, just because we're used to hunting OTC archery units where every Tom, Dick, and Harry can show up if they want to, and at times have, and you know, it can make it a little harder in figuring out how to get around that.
Yeah, and I mean, we've gotten comfortable, I would say, with what we do. So it's a total different, total, curveball into it.
I think in a day's time we should be able to figure out the lay of the land of what's hot, what's not, and make a readjustment.
Yeah.
Do you have, what's the terrain like there compared to what we usually get into?
I would call it a plateau with very steep ditches or runoff.
Is there a lot of elevation change?
Not very much, maybe 1,000 feet or so.
Okay. So it's not as bad.
It's a little
it's
lower.
not terrible.
Think you'll be-
There is some steep rock faces and such, but
I think you'll be able to glass quite a bit.
I think so, but part of me says no.
Yeah.
Just aerial looks like you could, but I think once you
Get there.
Get in it.
on the ground, you're going to have trees covering your view.
Right. Just
So-
maybe not as thick, dark timber as
No,
we're
it's
used
it's
to.
wide open.
Right.
It's kind
I would say there's 20 yards between each tree.
Yeah.
Some
What kind of-
small bushes?
This is a dumb question, and you might not. What trees are down there? Like, are they? Is it still aspens, or is it like
no,
something else?
zero aspens.
So it's something else.
Pine trees,
Oh, okay.
Pines.
pines, and
Like oaky type trees?
I
Or
don't think so. I think it's just pines and
Yeah, it'll just be different because it's all, you know.
The high ground's big trees, low ground is bushes, or
Sagebrush
whatever,
type
right?
stuff.
Bushy type
That
stuff.
Pinion oak.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking different name of oak, but yeah, oak type of tree.
Don't know. Never been to New Mexico, so be a first.
You're going to now. I'm excited for you. I mean, and then like this year, we normally don't do anything. We don't have service where we go hunting, so we, you know, maybe once or twice during the hunt or during the trip, we'll go find where ourselves have service, and we'll, you know, call our wives and check in with the families. Well, this year, since, you know, Russ and Brandon are going to be split up from us, we went and bought the Garmin
InReach
minis so that, you know, because really as the crow flies, we won't be that far from each other.
We're 5 hours on the road.
So if something goes wrong or, you know, whatever, and Russell and Brandon need help, we need help, we really could in half a day's time get up or down to each other if we needed to.
Yeah.
So we got these InReach, and we'll be able to actually text each other through these InReach minis. We paid $65 for a month's service, and
Plus a yearly fee.
yeah, which is
It's
bull
like
crap.
$90. $90 in the end.
I just gave you $70, and now you want a activation fee. Whatever,
They're going to get it out of you somehow.
I guess. So we'll be able to talk. So hopefully, you know, if someone gets lucky enough the first couple days, we can get a hold of each other, and then, you know, meet back up or whatever. So
Well, on paper, they have better odds than we do of actually getting on them.
Yeah,
So,
paper, but I think prior
experience,
field engagements, I think you guys are probably just as well up there.
We know where to start. Like, we've been to this unit that we're hunting out in Colorado. Well, I've been there 5 times or 6 times, whatever the hell it is now.
This will be my 8th.
Andy 8th, you know, Micah several years, Roger 39 years. I'm just kidding. How many years you been going out? 82.
Getting close to 20. Or
See, I
what?
thought it was more than that.
It might be.
Well,
Yeah, it is.
of that area or in total going?
My third trip out was to where you were hunting,
Where we go.
all are now. I've been to about 6 different places.
Nice. So we have the advantage of we know where they're going to be if they're going to be there. Whereas Russell and Brandon are just
Starting fresh.
I mean, Russell's done a lot of homework. I've seen his waypoints. There's hundreds of them scattered throughout, but
Probably too many to sort through.
probably.
just delete them as you go. That way you don't get mixed up. Be like, did I hit that one already?
So he's done his homework, but you know, he's still.
Nothing's like boots on the ground.
On
Yeah,
the ground
right.
is going to be totally
We live in
different.
The bad
Missouri. It's
part
not
is
like you can
that
go
we-
out there and scout.
Right. You're how many hours away?
From
Home.
here,
Right, from home.
same hours as you guys, roughly.
So 15,
16 hours, something
16
like
to
that.
camp, whatever it is.
Yeah, so it's not like you can just run out there and do it
scout
quick.
real easy.
No, it's
Have you tried getting a hold of anybody that's hunted it before?
nope. I know there's not much info.
I didn't know if there was like
There's not a whole lot of info on that unit either. It's mostly a mule deer
Yeah, I remember.
unit,
I remember you
so
saying that.
Yeah.
that could,
But it's like trophy mule deer too, ain't it? Is what they're saying?
when they migrate.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Well, it was kind of odd, and you know, maybe we'll do this differently moving forward. But our whole idea was, when we put in for it, we can stay close enough to each other that we could always drop down and help out, or they could hop up if you know they needed help.
Originally, when y'all first talked to me about it, is we were going down to one of the southern places I had been before, but Colorado changed that to
Yes.
a draw instead of over the counter, which kind of knocked us out of going down there.
Yeah.
So we would have been
Oh, literally
2 hours
a unit
probably
next to
apart.
each other,
Yeah.
just in different states. However, and we were hoping we maybe could get leftover tags in those units, and we looked, and there
Well,
was
last
nothing.
year
So,
when we went out, you could have driven out in like the second week of archery and still bought a leftover tag over
Yeah.
the counter for that unit. This year, there was, I think, like
nothing.
I don't know.
There-
There was a
It's
few
like
right
6
in the
or
very
7,
beginning.
I thought.
Yeah, that's right. There's like 6 or 7, but we couldn't put in as a group.
Yeah.
So as you got on, it was first come first serve.
Yeah.
So we could have ended up splitting up the group even farther because
Right.
1 or 2 of us got one and they sold out by the rest.
Yeah.
So
And we
we
definitely
decided
make
not
it
to.
harder on ourselves by trying to do that, but it's still
And if nothing else, we'll mark that unit off if it doesn't.
Well, yeah, because that's what
Do
we
what we
kinda
want,
did
or-
is we were like, hey, let's keep them northern in New Mexico. So you're going to be in a northern unit there, and that's all 3 units we put in New Mexico were up north, and
Doing the groundwork for the future.
So
down there.
if it's something that we don't, the experience we're not after, we'll make a change next year. Put in for something different.
yeah, so that was the idea, and we're still not too terribly far from each other. Like in a perfect world, what I hope happens is one of us gets something, and then we can meet up and spend a day with them or something, and it'd be fun because we got 2 trucks going out there, so you could always
Wait a minute.
Well, they're going. We have 2 trucks. What?
We got small games in New Mexico too, don't we?
Yes,
Yeah, we do.
So we could coyote hunt.
Oh, that'd be great for them. They're trying to archery hunt, and we're sitting there.
You guys stay in the low ground.
It's a whole different world.
Yeah, we could coyote hunt both states then.
Yeah, we
That'd be
could.
cool. I might not even buy a tag this year. I might just go kill coyotes.
And then, in our spot, I think what we're planning on doing is probably changing a little bit based on what happened last year.
For you guys happened last year and what started to happen.
I keep forgetting you weren't there.
Yeah.
God. Yeah. We went out together, me, you, and
Right.
Raj.
I went
but it was
out,
in a
but just
different
didn't go to
unit.
the same spot
Yeah.
because of COVID and went, a couple weeks later.
Right. Yeah.
And
Keep forgetting.
From what we told you, you didn't want to go back.
Right.
Yeah. So I think we're going to approach it a little differently. If
We're expanding or range, I
Yep.
would call it.
I'd say so. If it's as busy as it was last year, which I would
I'm betting it is.
bet it is.
And people camping in the wrong spots. First,
In our opinions, definitely yes. In their opinion, apparently not.
don't camp in the elk if you plan on hunting it for a week.
I say when
they're gonna smell you and get out of there.
Yeah.
They're camping in the spots that Russell has killed elk before.
They're not 100 yards from where elk bed.
Right,
So,
right, exactly. So what we're kind of planning on doing is, I think last year we were a little shell shocked with the people and like how to handle it. This year we're gonna find out quick if they are where we don't want them to be as far as the people, and use that to our advantage. All right, if they're here, we know the elk aren't. Let's go find the elk. And so we've got some spots kind of marked where we haven't really been before. We might do some overnight stuff. In those units, it's not like you're in the thick bush, but it would at least get you further in that
It's going
morning.
to take you probably 2 hours to get back up where,
Save
on a
you
four-wheeler.
a couple hours.
Yeah. And then so you can get out ahead of it and potentially do that sort of stuff. So, we might actually camp further up, all kinds of different things that we're thinking about doing to get around the other hunters that we're going to be dealing with, which is perfectly fine. They got just as much right to be there as we do.
You just got to poke your head in a different corner
There you go.
that they're poking.
Got to find a
You
different
got to get a little
spot.
creative.
Yeah. And maybe, it won't be as crazy. Last year, I didn't think it was going to be busy at all, and it was
Insane.
It was insane. It was insane. So maybe this year it isn't. Who knows? But
Well, I think I haven't heard of any other. Last year, and we've said it 1,000 times, but last year a bunch of units got closed because of the fires and stuff like that. So that pushed a lot of people around. As far as I know, everything's back open. And
yeah,
so
but how many units went to draw only that were OTC?
I'm not sure.
I wish I knew that. I wish I'd have looked that up. Because I know there's several units in Colorado that went to draw.
It wouldn't surprise me if in the next 5 years all the units are draw.
Me either.
It would benefit the hunting.
I think so too.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have a problem with it.
I don't
honestly.
know. I don't know if they'll do it because of the revenue part of it, though.
Sure. Yeah, prove a point, but
Yeah.
Keep packing us idiots into the
Same
over the
hole.
counter. as
yeah,
fast
but,
as
yeah,
possible.
but if they start getting to the point where they're not getting the people coming because everybody gets irritated,
That hasn't happened yet.
not yet, but I mean, if
They're
they-
still collecting the
Still
revenue.
getting that big money, yeah.
eventually though, I would think that they'll catch on.
I mean, you got to think about Russell excluded, but okay, we'll include Russell. Let's say this was a normal year. How much money is sitting up on this table just buying a tag?
about $3,000 almost.
Yeah,
$700 a pop. I mean, there's 5 of us.
yeah, and all the money we bring in, the grocery stores. I mean, they're not just going to they're not going to throw that away.
No.
So I think it'll take quite a bit for them to get rid of it, but
I think the elk will have to suffer in some way, or whether it's pressure pushing them out, keeping them out, or something of that nature.
But
Wolves.
like currently as it sits,
Hot topic.
currently as it sits, it's the largest herd of any western state is still in Colorado.
Yeah.
So
But
like,
the quality
Right. Of that herd.
is on the decline, in my opinion.
I think that's a lot of people's opinion. I mean,
I would rather have a good quality hunt and hunt every other year than hunt every single year. Take a year and go mule deer hunting or go hunt hogs or
right.
coyotes.
coyotes down in Texas.
Coyotes.
Which is really like I said, we could have, and we're starting to do this, but putting in points in different states where, Mark Livesey, remember that episode we had with him? He was kind of talking how he'll put in for, let's say, 4 different states, and he can almost guarantee himself that he'll draw one of those 4 every year. And he's almost, kind of building it to where he'll draw one of those states each year. And then he lives out in Wyoming, I think.
Montana.
So he knows he's going to hunt there.
We should have had our buddy Garen on. He's going to Idaho this year.
This is the
First. They normally go to Utah.
Okay.
They normally went over the counter to Utah.
That's right.
And they're having the same problem kind of we are, is more and more people packing into their unit. And so they decided to switch it up. They've been putting in for Arizona forever and didn't draw. And Idaho is over the counter but has a cap.
A lot of people don't know that either.
Right.
Yeah.
So you have to be, quick. They're saying only X amount of tags in each unit.
And it's only like 3 or 4 units tops.
I don't remember. No, there's more units, but the cap varies.
Our episode with Mark, he talked about Idaho being a sleeper on OTC stuff.
Yep.
Not a whole lot of
Do you
it.
have to be in state to buy their OTC?
No.
So they can buy as soon as they're open.
You have to be as soon as they open. As soon as they open, you have to be on, and you see the amount of tags just ticking off.
Talk about a server crash.
Right.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Can't be no worse than Colorado.
Colorado sucks.
You're sitting there. And
I
there's just
have
nothing.
fought that for
Right.
ever since I can remember.
Yeah.
Colorado.
Back when they had the internet first come up.
Oh, you didn't buy any minutes this month. Oh, that's funny. Speaking of history, so we had Raj come on, which is, like I said, Andy's dad. Raj is really the beginning of this whole problem he created. I mean, this is really all your fault.
Thank you.
This whole thing.
This whole thing's really all your fault. So I thought it'd be cool for people to kind of hear what made you first start going back when you did 20 plus years ago, and then just kind of we'll just kind of BS from there.
A brother-in-law and me were sitting around at family gatherings, and we always like to go. Should have go elk hunting. I like to go elk hunting. Well, I know somebody that it's done it out there. I'll talk to him, and eventually we got together. And the first year we went out, we decided to rent horses from a local out in Colorado, and we picked a spot. How he's picked it, I don't know. Brother-in-law picked where we decided to go. We had 2 people from law enforcement, a doctor, and a butcher. And I'm a farmer.
Walk into a bar.
2 cops, a farmer, a butcher, and a doctor.
Yeah.
Walk into a bar.
Yeah, and that's that's how it got started. I'd never been out done it before. It was gun hunting. Been probably second season because we bought them over the counter at that time. And
So you were going out in the middle of winter.
Second season
second week of third week of
okay.
October.
Still colder than hell.
It was it was chilly, yes, but we learned a lot. We rented horses. We took our hay from good old Missouri. Found out that didn't work. We got caught at campground before we even got it unloaded.
Breaking the rules.
Can't bring our grass, so you got to use your grass.
So we
Okay.
got to use pay their price for their.
It wasn't that type of Colorado grass yet.
Yeah, well, not then. It was their weed-free hay and
Different weed.
up dark. We went up a place
Andy's really
called
smoking this joke.
up this dark
Dude,
canyon.
I'm just laid one up for you.
Yeah, he dropped it.
Yes, he did.
But a place called Dark canyon. We called it Cold Dark Ass Canyon because the sun never shone. The walls are so steep. We led horses up 5 miles with packs on. What do they call? Not landers. What do they call them? The packs? I can't think right now. But
saddlebags.
Well, they're a lot bigger than that. I think it's maybe it is lanyards. But
I'll take your word for it.
They're great big. You can put
big bags on. Yeah.
Big bags on each side. He had it down. Brother-in-law had it down to so many pounds as you could carry, and each had to be within a pound or so on each side of the horse. And we led the horses in 5 miles, and one of them got altitude sickness going in.
The horses?
No, one of those 5 people was going. No. Well, the horses were used to it.
I'll be dead ass honest. I thought he was talking about a horse.
That's why it threw me off. I'm like, they live there.
The horses were local, so they are.
Whatever. I don't know.
That was our mistake.
Is that a thing?
I would never recommend renting horses from local trail ride people out there to go hunting on.
Why is that?
Because they want to go home, and they will break away and go home. They'll just take off across the mountain on the trail.
They don't know you. I mean,
they know where home is, and they're gone. We spent more time chasing horses than we did elk hunting.
Really?
Really.
So no success that first year?
We were lucky to come home alive.
So when you start taking your own horses? Because I know
the year after that.
Now that is an undertaking, I'm sure.
Yes, and I admire anybody that can do that because that is a job on its own. Taking care of a horse, taking your own horse out, taking proper care of them. Because when you come in tired and been out all day, then you got to stop and take care of the horses. And, it's that lasted for a couple of years, and we got rid of them and moved on. Now we do it on 4-wheelers.
Yeah. There's one year though you took a horse and wagon out, didn't you?
Yes, we did. We were hunted in an area that was a state park in Colorado that it wasn't a 50-inch trail, but it was a narrow gap. So we've got us one horse and pulled a wagon that fit. We measured what it was.
It's like the damn Oregon Trail up here.
Oh, man.
So all in all, since you started going elk hunting, how many people have you
brought with
on this trip where Roger is involved? How many people you guesstimate that you've went out west hunting with?
Different people you're talking about since I started?
There's 4 of us right here.
Oh, why? I don't know. 10, 12.
So really, it's been a decently small group over the 20-plus years you've been doing it.
Yes.
It's morphed a little bit, obviously.
There's actually kind of 2 different groups. My original group I went out with, they kind of faded apart, and then you all got started. And
they stayed gun hunting, and they were going every 3 years probably.
My brother-in-law and them, they still go about every 3 years, still take their own horses. I kind of gave up the gun, went to black powder, and then from you all, the ones really got me into the archery side of it.
Sorry.
No, I love it. To me, it's still a challenge to kill one with a gun. Don't get me wrong, but there's not even beginning comparable whenever you have one standing at 30 or 40 yards and you're holding a bow compared to you shooting one at 600-700 yards with a rifle. To me, that one is on the verge of just killing, and the other one is hunting. I mean,
2 different experiences.
2 total different.
Yeah.
It's
not saying I'd ever do it with a rifle, though. I've thought about it before.
It's each has in its own right a different experience.
Better success rate, I hope.
I would guess so.
Well, yes.
Well, the one time we took rifles, we didn't see shit.
Yeah.
But the adrenaline rush of when you're that close to that magnificent of an animal, and you're holding a stick and a string, a lot of them call it. It's There's no comparison to the adrenaline rush.
I remember my first year. I was with Russell, and we split up for a little while. And I think I was walking back trying to find you because I got lost, and all I had was that little yellow Garmin that didn't have any maps on it. And next thing I know, I look up, and 60 yards away is a bull. And I don't even think I remembered I had a bow in my hand. It was just like,
yes,
I can't believe I'm seeing this.
You marvel.
Right.
So many times, so many things besides even the elk. I marvel at what we get to see doing it. That's so fascinating. There's so few people that ever see that.
I've never seen squirrels aim at human beings before, but I swear they do.
They do. There's no question.
They throw those damn acorns at us or whatever they are. They're pine cones.
Pine cones.
They do it on purpose.
Oh, without a doubt.
And they're just up there like, ha! And then they sound so much like an elk sometimes, just like
they can get that steady rhythm going. It's almost like the footstep.
Really no different than here with a squirrel and you think it's a deer. Yeah.
I've come to realize if you hear it coming, it's more than likely a squirrel. It's the deer that
but you always think it is the other.
It's the deer that are quiet.
It puts you up on alert.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do. And they'll sit there and yell at you. Oh, aggravating little suckers. But, I mean, you've had so many different experiences, too. I mean, you've been out second rifle where it's been snow up to your flipping hips. And
yeah, I've had somewhere I got a picture that would make the Wrigley Spearmint Gum commercial back years ago. You're probably too young to remember that. Used to be in the snow in the wintertime. I've had 6 and 8 inches of snow on my lap riding a horse. It was snowing so hard.
Wow.
I've learned, we literally learned the hard way of make sure on your packs that you have survival gear with you. Brother-in-law, he got so cold, he said, you got to start a fire somehow. Some way you got to get, I'm cold, I got wet, was in that wet snow.
Yeah.
And literally I finally crawled up underneath a big pine tree, raked the top pine needles back, made a pile out of the dry ones, took toilet paper out of my backpack, and wadded up and got a fire started. And that's how I got a fire started, to warm him back up so he could get back down out there.
Yeah.
He got wet.
And all over the years, you haven't, a lot of folks, which I'm not saying nothing, but a lot of folks, go to outfitters and do different things. From the very beginning, you've been going on your own and learning as you go.
Yeah. To me, it's more about the experience of doing it than it is the actual killing of the elk.
Right.
That's what bad hunters say.
Okay, I'll fall into the bad hunter. I'm going for the experience more than I am the.
Yeah,
I agree.
Even when we don't see nothing, it's always a blast. It's always just a fun time.
And I have never yet been around even helping packing my own out or packing somebody else's out. That's when the work begins.
Oh, shit.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And it means that much more when it actually happens.
Oh, yes.
I don't care, like we were talking this year, my first year going, I think we even had this discussion. Are you going to kill anything right off the bat, or are you waiting for a bull? I think I'm going to wait for a bull the first 3 days, and then I'll kill whatever. Mm-hmm. This year, the first thing that's legal that walks in front of me is going to die. And it's because you're ready to do it.
Right.
And I don't care if it's a cow or, if it's a little raghorn legal bull or something. It's when it actually happens. Hopefully it does this year for all of us. But when it actually happens, it means that much more when you've had to stumble, for the 20 plus years you've been going, you've had to learn as you've gone.
Right.
And then, of course, you teach.
And we've benefited from that. I
right.
mean, we knew where had a spot to go whenever we started going.
Yeah, because somebody asked us about, we had a listener ask us about, what would you do? And really, the part that's been easy for us is when I first started going, Russell got me to go, and I didn't have to find out where we were going to go.
Right.
I was just going with you guys, and that's where I'm going.
And compared to Roger, they only had paper maps back then.
Right.
You didn't have.
I've got a whole drawer full of paper maps of different.
There's a huge advantage just to having something digital where you can download a map and.
But even at that, it can be intimidating if you're just two buddies wanting to go to Colorado for the first time or whatever.
Last year, us three, me, Nate, and Roger, went to a brand new unit, never been there before, and even with the truck trouble, we had to find a new place to park. We moved the truck 2 or 3 times just because we couldn't.
We come to find out we were using all the wrong tactics for that area of type hunting.
We needed a four-wheeler
there. Knew going in what we was getting into. Mm-hmm. Fortunate, the area y'all are hunting now, the first time I got to hunt that, it was by recommendation of a friend of the brother-in-law. He says, you need to go. He told us how to get there. And he said, when you cross that cattle guard, that's where you stop and camp. Well, literally, we drove and drove and drove out there. There's no cattle. Finally we found the spot. And this must be where we started. We had no clue except Well, you find a cattle guard, that's where you stopped at. So it's,
and that's just crazy to me that I hope we're in the right unit. Like, because you can't just get on your Onyx or your base maps or whatever and go, yeah, we're in the unit we need to be. Especially, back when you first started going.
Yeah,
and then
it probably wasn't as big of a deal back then, though, either, as far as what unit. Because we border a unit that one's bull only, one's either, and stuff. So, but back then, I would assume that it was probably just all any tags.
I have no idea. Was that a thing back then? Was there units and all that back when you first started going?
I'm sure there was units, but
there was units, but I think your tag covered a lot more units.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't remember, I've hunted the same spot, it was up the same ridge there, but I don't remember a differentiating between the two as far as what we couldn't do.
Huh. So then as the trip started going further and further and, people started changing, Andy, were you the first? Or did you guys start the same year, you and Russell?
No, Russell and
I went
Grant.
before.
You went before Andy.
So,
I was a bad father. I didn't take him in.
Andy was still in college at the time, right?
He was in school.
I'm pretty sure you were still in college.
Or there was one year I think I went and played softball
I remember
Worlds
that.
down
I
in
heard
Florida.
that. Yeah.
I went and played softball in Florida instead of went elk hunting, which was, dumb, but whatever. And then I started the next year.
So
maybe that was it.
You went before Rod.
Yeah, we went rifle hunting.
And your dad was already, Russell's dad, Albert, was already going by then? Or no?
He
started
with you the same year.
Now, the spot we're going, it was all of our first year. They went to a different spot their first year.
Right.
When I went, we went to the spot we go to now.
That's the only spot you've ever hunted.
Besides last year, yeah.
That's cool. And that was, so your first year was your dad's first year going out.
Correct.
And then, who else was with you? Raj,
Grant.
and Grant. And that was Grant's last year then going.
And then one of my old hunting buddies was with us then. Yeah.
Okay.
Grant's very first year.
Grant's been since.
He has?
Yeah.
Because he went the same
year.
year.
He went with me. That's right. My first year, Grant was there.
Grant's last year was
he's been like
first year.
3 times maybe.
Yeah. One before and two since me.
One south and then 2 up.
Yeah.
So the first year we went to the spot, we walked from camp. We would leave at 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. We would walk up a horse trail.
Try not to get eaten by bears.
Ran into a bear on the horse trail. All this. We dropped off kind of the side of the mountain we were on and ended up finding 4-wheeler trail.
You heard it first.
We would hear 4-wheelers, and then this was kind of before we didn't have Onyx then. I think it was probably just coming out, honestly.
Honestly, when I was out there the first time on horseback at that spot, there was 4-wheelers out there. There was a trail out there, and we come down out of that trail on horseback, and we got to the end. There was a Forest Service truck setting at the end. He goes, "Did you see any 4-wheelers up in there?" And we go, "No." Well, we're putting a stop to this nonsense, and he drove a post right in the middle of the trail when we stood there. Now it's like a freeway, that same trail.
Yeah. Well, and then the next year we went out, and Russell had that 50-inch Razor, that 570, and then we were able to get back in there. And as it's progressed, the trails have gotten
better,
more and more used.
So well groomed.
And so now we take the ATVs, and we can get way farther than what we ever did before.
Yeah, and where our unit that we're in, there's really not any backpacking. Because
people do it, and it's a dumb idea.
But you're within half a day's walk of any
we realized we were killing ourselves because we were limiting ourselves to that one
You can
spot.
only go so far.
There's no 6 miles deep
right
where we're at, unfortunately.
No.
There's not.
And you're not going to walk 6 miles deep and blow down timber. It's just not going to.
Oh, my gosh.
I don't think you can honestly get more than 2, maybe 3 miles from an ATV trail.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. And
that used not be that way.
No.
Yeah, it's just kind of interesting how,
now, sometimes we walk 12 miles a day.
Oh, sure.
But at
it's
any
inside
given time,
them areas.
At any given time, you're in a straight line.
If you knew which way to walk straight, you wouldn't take it out.
It'd be great, yeah. If I knew which way the elk were, I wouldn't walk 12 miles, but unfortunately,
that's why they call it hunting.
Yeah. So it's just kind of cool how it's kind of morphed since you started 20 plus years ago. rifles and horses.
It's changed tremendously.
All this stuff. And hell, now Russell's and Albert's first year. Hell, Albert loves going out there, but Albert doesn't hunt. He takes care of us, cooks for us. It's great because he really can't hunt. He's got a garbage back and just not going to work for him. But he loves going out there and just being out there with us.
We try to get him at least a campsite with somewhat of a view.
Yeah, which has been difficult.
It is. I mean, the more people that are out there, the harder it is to get a good campsite.
Yep. My first year was my favorite campsite spot, and we have not got that since. But
no, we got it the second year.
Was that?
I was there.
Did we? Gosh,
yeah.
man, I suck at remembering stuff.
On the point?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. But, ever since then, we've not been so lucky. 2 years ago, I was probably my least favorite spot. But it's just camping. We're only there at night.
I really like that spot.
Which is weird. It was
terrible.
right on the road. I hated it.
It was hot.
Yeah.
Getting struck by lightning.
Yeah, that was
okay. There was that.
Micah wouldn't remember that. He was sleeping through the whole friggin'
What you're
thing.
talking about.
Well, I think the one with the worse than that even yet is, I don't know who of y'all was with us. We was on the other side of the fence of the cattle guard in that parking area over there, brother.
Yeah.
Oh, where where you
I don't
keep
think
the
I was
horses
there
and
that
stuff.
That was the rifle year. That was the year
Yeah, that
me,
was
you,
bad.
and Russell.
Hey, you can hear
Rifle
every truck
only.
going across the cattle guard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Snow, no elk. I think we've seen one track
Yeah.
the entire week
Yep.
in snow. Yes.
And a bunch of orange. Is that the one where you sat on
There
the
was-
hillside and you
I
saw
don't-
just a bunch of pumpkins?
I don't.
No.
That was the first year.
There
we
actually
went.
wasn't that many people out there when we went rifle.
I don't think we
but
ran into, but
That's
maybe like
because I think everybody knew something we didn't.
yeah,
so.
there was only like one or two other people there.
First year I hunted, we seen one man.
Really?
Yep. Bad part was he was a local, and we were on horseback, and he was getting to the top at the same time we were on horseback. He was well up in his years.
Oh, really?
Nice.
And you could see him going up every morning as we went up on the other side of the ridge. You could see him every morning, every evening coming down.
That's pretty cool. But, to kind of try to tie this back into our listeners, this is the reason why we all like doing this is the stories, the memories. If you're thinking about ever going out west, this is why
Do it while
we
you're
all
young.
love it. I wish I'd have done it before I was in my 30s. And, because the memories you'll never forget, although I seem to forget everything, but you'll never forget the times of the people you're going out with.
Not only the added years of memories, your body, I'm telling you, as you get older, it doesn't like it as well.
No, it doesn't.
Well, and he's just kind of talked about how he got started in it, but like the amount of stories that I think all of us have heard of every one of his trips is a unique story, and most of them hilarious. But
Yeah.
we'd be here till the morning if you just.
Yeah. And I could sit around a campfire camp and listen to them.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things about going out to these hunting camps is listening to the stories from anybody about stuff. Or when we get back and maybe Mike and I are hunting together one night or one day, and we get back and Andy and Pat tell a story about what they had happen.
Right.
And you just sit there and the evenings when we get to have fires out there, sitting around those, when we should be in bed.
Yep.
Talking is one of my, and then you get closer to people. I mean, spending 10 days together, out there in the wild or whatever with no service,
No showers.
no showers.
You get close.
It's
you don't.
it's fun.
What are you talking about?
Yeah, I take the man showers, what I call them, with the wipes.
The baby wipes.
Yeah,
I hunted with the man that my first years. He would actually get in the stream with a bar of soap.
Ooh.
I'm not that tough.
me either. No, I don't think so. I'll just do the baby wipe shower and move on.
They are cold.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, really cold.
That's the cool stuff is just the memories. Russell going out to New Mexico this year.
It's gonna be some good story. I mean, that's gonna be great because
I can't
we're
wait
not
to hear that.
there to see the stories immediately. So he's gonna
Even
have
if
to
it
share.
sucks, like I hope it doesn't, but if it does, I hope to hear about every little went here and there was 4 rattlesnakes and got the hell out of there and just whatever else. I mean,
They got rattlesnakes where you're at.
I'm sure there's a lot of stuff we're not
Yep,
prepared
I'm not putting
for.
it in that one.
Tarantulas, all that.
Tarantulas, scorpions.
Yeah, all kinds of good stuff.
A little hotter and drier down there.
Yeah, it's about, making the memories. So, yeah, we talked a little bit of pregame in this show about what we're planning on doing. Honestly, the biggest thing I wanted to do was, get Raj on and talk about some of his memories. And, I mean, you could damn near have a Tales of the Chase episode for every year he went out. Just, what'd you do? And we've heard some of the best stories, sitting around that campfire that he's told. And so hopefully we keep making those memories as long as we can, because you do realize at some point you're like, okay, how much longer is this going to go on?
Mm-hmm.
Do I have the money every year? Do I, my kids are all getting older. Am I going to be able to get away?
Right.
My son keeps messing with me every year because I'm gone during his birthday. Well, one day you're going to get to go with me for your birthday. So that sort of stuff is kind of cool. But
I missed a lot of his Little League football games, high school football games.
You didn't miss anything. Don't come across the table. Stay over there.
I'll let that one go.
Good.
Free pass.
So that's kind of the idea of this show was. This show is going to actually release the day we leave for Colorado, and kind of pre-gaming, getting hyped up for it. It's not really a lot of information in what we did today. We talked about where we're going to go, hopefully what we're going to do.
We're riding separate trucks, right?
Good question.
Okay.
Why are you worried about that?
I'm just making sure.
Make sure you get the same.
Depends on whether or not you drive your truck or not.
We got a lot of questions about what might happen with my truck. It's currently in the shop. Don't really know what's wrong with it yet. If anything, hopefully not. But
Old Faithful's ready to back up.
oh, he'll be fine. That LBZ knows what it's doing. He'll get there. Although I will say this: engine brakes are the shit.
Yeah.
Oh, they're a game changer, man.
Yeah.
Coming down the pass, yeah.
Well, I can tell you stories about that.
The Micah friggin' last year. Why are you guys going so slow? Don't worry about it. The truck has found what it likes, and it's going to go 55 miles an hour.
Yeah, mine will walk away down that pass away from it,
yeah.
because the way that the gear ratio is completely different.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You got that extra gear.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, and like Russell went down you were driving my truck down the pass last year, and it liked, what, third gear?
I don't know, just like a certain mile per hour.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it was around 50-ish.
Yeah.
If you got over that, it would shift, and then you'd be going way too fast.
Yeah.
So you just...
That's just nature.
And then if you try to slow down, then you almost redline the damn
It
thing.
does redline.
Yeah, and that engine brake you can do whatever you want. It's nice, but...
You got emissions.
One year.
Not no more.
So, yeah, that's the show tonight. I mean, we just wanted to kind of BS about our trip and listen to Raj kind of talk about the history of... This is the
Talking about coming down the hill. I was in a Dodge Cummins with a
God.
5-speed coming up Wolf Creek Pass. Yeah, that wasn't pretty. Had 7 horses behind us.
So at this point, you're just kind of excited that you're still alive, is what you're
There's
saying.
time, yes.
Yeah, you're like,
yes.
I believe that story ends with bottles of water going out the window to put on the brakes.
Yes, the flames on the front brakes of the truck was coming out from under the fender well.
is that problematic?
Not supposed to happen.
Not supposed to have fire. Okay, gotcha.
Fire is not a good thing, especially if the stop traffic in front of you is moving out of off the highway to give you room, because they can tell you're not getting stopped.
No fun.
It wasn't good.
Yeah, travel issues is really the only thing that sucks about going out there. We had travel issues both trips last year. Last
year was a bad year. It's over with. Done.
That's
Gone.
true. And then I overheated and all that crap. Well, although we learned 4 low apparently is a good thing when you're going a mile an hour upgrade. If that.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Keep your RPMs up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
fan clutch on.
yeah, and that's if people are out there thinking about it, I realize it costs money to go do it. But if you're seriously considering going out west for elk, mule deer, I don't care what, antelope, and you're kind of waffling, do it. If you're in your mid-20s, early 30s, do it.
I guarantee you spend money on stupider stuff.
Yes. All of us do. So might as well spend.
I've had a lot of people come to me over the years and say, well, how much does it cost to go do that? How much? Really, you eat if you're at home. So a lot of people, well, the time you get your food, no, it may cost you a little more. You'll watch how you spend your money on your food, but a lot of times it's not a lot different. Basically, the price of the tag and some fuel. And if you're going with a couple people and you split the fuel up,
it's next
the
to
fuel's not bad at all.
Yeah.
So it really is the price of the tag is the difference. It's because the rest of the stuff, most generally, you have most all the gear it takes to do it anyway. Yes, you can go to Bass Pro and spend yourself into wherever.
You don't have
But
to
you don't
have
have to.
Sitka
Right.
and all that.
You don't have
every
to.
First
I mean,
Light
it's-
and every expensive.
No, because I'm guessing when you first started going, you were wearing cotton and Carhartt and
Same-
whatever,
Same
coat.
stuff.
Yeah.
I wore here deer hunting.
Yep. So blue jeans
Wasn't even merino
and a
wool.
coat,
No.
probably.
No, because there was snow on the ground. I had Carhartt.
Oh, you had to have. Yeah, but that's just that's the point is go. I wish I'd have started earlier.
Yeah.
Russell for a few years I'd kind of waffled about it here and there, and I'm like, I don't
Well,
know.
he's liking that word, waffled.
Have I said that several times?
A few
Yeah.
times.
No, sorry.
You make me hungry.
I pancaked about it.
You was asking how many different people. I was just thinking, the only bad part about once you start, of the people I've went with, there's only about 2, maybe 3 that didn't end up hooked on it and went multiple years and years and years because it's addictive. Once you get it and do it once, it's
Yeah, it can be problematic, which is a good thing, but because you sit there and waffle about it for, several years. Russell is, gosh dang it! You sit there and
Think about it.
for several years, which is what I did personally. And then once you go, you're like, why the hell did I do this 5 years ago?
And if you want one big ass one to hang on the wall, spend the money.
That's. I would say if it's just an experience that you want one time, like you check it off your bucket list. I'd pay the money, get a guide,
Yeah, if you were
go do
Do
all
some
that.
private land or
No,
something.
Don't do what we're doing, because
Right.
we're definitely making it a lot harder.
We're
on
doing it
ourselves.
for other reasons other than the hunting. Yes,
if
our
you
goal.
want the experience,
Right.
of just being out there and hunting and that, and being able to tell the multiple years of stories and tell. Yeah, I know guys that go out every 3 or 4 years, spend the big money for an outfitter, and I know a couple of them don't have much stories to tell because
Right.
they were put on elk instantly the first day. They killed their elk and go boom, boom.
God, I really want to tell that story though.
Sit on this rock. There's an elk that comes by
Yeah.
at whatever
I-
time.
There's
that-
times I'm
actually-
I'm ready to tell that story.
I
See this
actually-
big ass elk?
Yeah.
I actually had a guy tell me, he said, these outfitters said, you go down this trail. When you get to them big rocks, sit on that rock. At 9:30, he'll come by. That'll be your elk. I'll be back in a couple hours and get you. And he said, it happened just the way he told me. But he said that wasn't much of a hunting experience. He says,
Yeah. Yeah, there's a certain amount of you want to work for it. At least we do. I think all of us in this room, our idea of being successful is we
Did it ourselves.
we did it.
Yeah.
At some point, if I am in my 50s and still haven't done it myself, maybe I'll go pay somebody to help me out because apparently I can't do it. But that's a lot of it is
getting harder and harder to do it by yourself.
it is getting harder, and we've had a lot of, honestly, if you think about all the times since this group has really started going, we've come close and or killed almost every year at this point.
I should have had 4 dead elk, and I in my mind, I screwed up 4 times.
You got close enough is the point, right?
So out of 7 years that I have been, 4 times, I can name exactly. I made the wrong decision. If I would have done,
You changed your odds.
took a little farther shot instead of letting him come closer, or one I just straight up whiffed and missed. That's the one that hurts
You
the
didn't
most.
miss. You hit the tree nice and square, apparently.
The one
So,
behind him, yeah. I shot over top of him. And then there's a couple other, he's quartering to me a little bit. If I just wait for him to clear that tree and the wind swirls and he doesn't clear the tree, or,
If I would just stop when he was standing there, would have shot when he was standing there.
right.
just 4?
Just 4.
Just 4? So out of
That's-
all of us sitting here at this table, you see more elk every year than any of us combined, and you only got 4 opportunities?
I would say, honestly, legitimate opportunities to kill an elk, I'd say 4. Oh, 5. There was a cow one time.
Oh, 5.
There's 5.
Oh, 6. And then, like Russell, you had one year where you had a rough year. You killed a bull the next year. I've had a year where I probably should have had one dead. Pat's killed one 2 years ago. Last year he killed a mule deer.
Yeah, year before that he killed a cow.
Right. So,
he had the beginner's luck that year.
Gosh, yeah. Well, the crap thing about it is, not that I'm not happy for Pat, but Micah and I were furthest away from everybody, and so we couldn't really hear anybody on the radio. And
because we check in every 2 hours.
So we thought Roger killed the cow because we heard something about Roger, and we're like, I said Roger killed a cow or an elk. I didn't.
Yeah.
And then come to find out, we get back to camp, and we're like, yeah, Roger. No, it was Pat. Oh, well, that's fine too. But yeah, it was just kind of it's kind of cool to have those things happen. So anyway, we'll stop droning on this one, but hopefully everybody, just light that fire and go have these experiences. Whether it's just you and a buddy, which would make it a lot easier.
It doesn't matter if it's even elk hunting, just a trip you want to take or experience.
Go experience life in general.
Go out west. Go wherever. If you want to go down.
If you got something you want to do, you better get it done while you can.
Go down to Florida and hunt deer in the summer during their rut. Those deer are rutting right now. Or
do a hunting fishing trip all in one.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean you could do that. Go Nebraska, chase turkeys. I mean all the stuff that they're doing. So
I've had a lot of good turkey, spring turkey hunting, crappie fishing go together well.
They do. Yeah. They do. So anyway, when y'all are hearing this, we are going to be on our way to Colorado and New Mexico. So wish us luck. After today's show, we will be gone for 10 days after this. We will have shows coming out during that, so be on the lookout for those. But this one's just really us. We are excited, so we want to talk about it. Yep. And there's really not a whole lot that we did, but
we got to start recording earlier, though.
Yeah,
it's getting a little late.
How long we talked before this one?
I don't know, but I mean, hours. But before I even left, I told my daughter, I said, it's time for you to go to bed. She said, why? I said, the cows are out in the field. She said, well, that have to do anything? I said, past your bedtime.
Dude, you slipped that one in there smooth.
Yeah. That was actually a listener submitted recommendation there.
Who was that?
Huh?
Who submitted that?
The Bearded Trapper.
Oh,
Ethan sent that one in, yeah.
Hey, thanks a lot, Ethan, for freaking enabling him. You are banned. You can't, no more of that crap.
I appreciate it, Ethan.
Were you really trying your best to figure out how to slip that
He'd
in?
been waiting on that, I can tell.
I was, just came up.
Okay, so our trip's going to start off on a dad joke. I'll take it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, good luck to all of us. Hopefully, when we get back, we have some Tales of the Chase episodes.
When we get back, then we have it depends on what day we get back. Then we have a few days, and it's whitetail season here.
Yeah. So hopefully we will have some more shows talking about what happened in Colorado and New Mexico when we get back. If not, I think you guys can understand what probably happened.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hope everybody gets back safe in one piece. That's what I always.
That'd be great.
There's some of the terrain we travel out there that, boy, one little misstep and it could be a bad disaster.
Yep.
And good luck to all you other hunters that are heading out west. So.
Yep.
Yeah, there's a lot of us flatlanders that are heading out that way. It's not just us. And
kind of kick off to hunting season each year, I think, is that trip out west and come back, and we got several months ahead of us.
Yep. So, all right, fellers. Well, we'll end this one here.
All righty. Y'all have a good one.
Russ, thanks for coming on.
Yep.
Roger, thanks for coming on. All right, see you guys.
No problem.